Well, nobody's going to be buying a bucket full of nuggets at a KFC or McDonald's this Christmas after tuning into the Chicken Run sequel on Netflix. Chicken Run Dawn of the Nuggets, directed not by Peter Lord and Nick Park this time round, but by Sam Fell, director of Flushed Away, and is the 2022 sequel to 2000's Chicken Run, and is the 13th Aardman movie overall, as well as the ninth feature length stop motion animated feature from Aardman Animations. So, Dawn of the Nugget tells the story, taking place sometime after the chickens escaped Tweedy's farmer in the original, and they are now happily living in their chickentopia on the island. Rocky and Ginger have raised a most curious daughter, Molly, voiced by Bella Ramsey, and Molly just dreams of life outside the island. Yeah, bring out the cliche handbook, and of course disobeys her mother and gets herself captured after befriending another chicken, and she uh, is brought to this nugget factory where chickens are transformed into nuggets, built by former owner of Tweedy's farm, Mrs. Tweedy herself, voiced once again by Miranda Richardson. So instead of breaking out this time, our clucking feathered friends are breaking in to rescue Molly and all the chickens inside that factory, and it's literally Aardman does Mission Impossible. Now, if I had a penny for every time I've heard just how beloved and significant the original Chicken Run is, not just for Aardman, but for stop motion animation in general, I would be a millionaire. That movie was not only the first ever feature length stop motion film, and still remains the highest grossing stop motion film, and it was the movie that got us the Academy category Best Animated Feature. And it was Aardman and DreamWorks' first major movie together, back when Aardman was on true top form, making nothing but claymation masterpieces. Since they're split from DreamWorks, I am convinced they have gone downhill, and after seeing Dawn of the Nugget, I still stand by that statement. When the Chicken Run sequel was first announced back in summer 2018, I was like, okay, do we really need this? And I envisioned it would just take place on the island with a natural predator like, say, a fox that would prey on chickens. But no, they when I saw the trailer for this movie, I'm like, oh, they're just doing the first movie just in reverse. Every single critic and fan of the original Chicken Run who is uh, calling Dawn of Nuggets a weaker film than its predecessor, they are not wrong. I 110% am on their side. Yeah, Dawn of the Nuggets, I mean, does have a nuggets of charm and nuggets of a beautiful stop motion animation. Um, and nuggets of enjoyment. But a lot is missing from this sequel that's made its predecessor a true animated classic. And Sam Fell, I think, has declined in quality as a filmmaker after this, because Flushed Away, I still love, but you do kind of wish that Peter Lord and Nick Park who also directed Dawn of the Nugget. And you never know, maybe this sequel could have been on par with the original, but releasing it on Netflix was a cheap move and a huge wasted opportunity. This movie could have done splendid in cinemas, especially as its predecessor, was the box office hit that it was, and how many people were looking forward to this sequel. But no, they just dumped it on Netflix lazily. That goes to show they didn't care about this one nearly as much as they did the first film. I don't know what does. But not that this is a negative review, no. As for the pros for Dawn of the Nugget, this movie, the first film, took 2 years to animate fully, and you can see why. With the stop motion animation from Aardman, once again looking mesmerizing, and particularly with them needing to animate 50 chickens in just one shot. Damn. And that, I'm sure the stop motion animation process for this movie was painstakingly long. And this sequel did get several chuckles out of me, several passable jokes, the summer holiday scene. And Babs continues to steal the show of all of the uh, comedic side characters. I made her a bicycle, and she just knits Molly a bicycle. This sequel does offer some decent development for Ginger and Rocky. Ginger still not fully recovered from the uh, trauma of what she went through at Tweedy's farm. She doesn't want any of that for her daughter, and Rocky is just as courageous and badass as her in this movie. Yeah, both are such impeccable parents who won't let Mrs. Tweezy lay a finger on their daughter, and Rocky does do lots to not only cheer up his wife and daughter, but he does jump in to rescue them on more than one occasion. And as for the best character in this movie, that would be Molly, voiced by Last of Us star Bella Ramsey. And I still think Ellie from Last of Us is the defining moment of her career. But Molly is just as extremely likable as her mother here, and yeah, she's she's everything like her mum. Even when Ginger wants to get her daughter out of the Nugget factory, she insists they don't leave until they rescue her friend. Speaking of which, her friendship with the other chicken, Frizz, who looks like a purple version of Matt, was the most endearing part of the film. And that's my chicken lovers is where all my praises for Dawn of the Nugget ends. Now let's get to why this is one of Aardman's most disappointing movies to date. As highly detailed as the stop motion animation is, you can't help but miss the grittier animation and look of the original. This sequel looks a little too bright and a little too clean and sugar coated, which leads into my next point. So the tone of this movie is so inconsistent from the original Chicken Run. If you're going into this wanting a film like the original, then prepare to let down. Don't prepare to be let down. Don't get your hopes up on that, because this is a different movie. It's more light-hearted and more kid-friendly in comparison. The darker animal cruelty elements that made the original one of Aardman's most ambitious are entirely absent here. The like a chicken who gets transformed into nuggets. It's just played for a joke, and the stakes feel far lower in this movie in comparison. Uh, there are no moments where you are especially concerned for the chickens. And yes, the original Chicken Runner did have some minor cliches, but it certainly wasn't as cliched a narrative as its sequel in comparison. Like Molly wanting to leave the island and disobeying her parents. I'm like, cliched or what? I mean, yeah, Dawn of the Nuggets follows the cliche handbook in terms of parent and child conflicts in movies down to a T. We've seen that a million times before in the Disney direct-to-DVD sequels. I was praying Dawn of the Nugget would be smarter than those sequels, but it's not much. The soundtrack to this movie is uh, greatly inferior and a step down from that's of the original soundtrack. I mean, still find myself humming to some themes of the original, but this one just used a more current modern pop songs like Take a Look at My Baby in Molly's growing up montage, which is a nothing song, and Mrs. Tweedy's return was something the one thing about this movie I was most looking forward to see what they would do with her. And what they do with her is vastly disappointing. They give no explanation to how she, well, is no longer with Mr. Tweedy. Mr. Tweedy isn't even mentioned in this movie. No explanation to how she is now with her brand new husband, the wacky scientist guy who controls the chickens through collars. And I'm like, dear Aardman, you can't just bring Mrs. Tweedy back out of nowhere and not explain. I'm still wrapping my brain around this, and even though it is uh, totally awesome to have Miranda Richardson reprising her role and Imelda Staunton as Bunty, but the a lot of the other voice actors are recast, which was a uh, a dumb move, in my opinion. You recasted Mel Gibson just because Mel Gibson is controversial. Well, so is Zachary Levi right now after what he said about James Gunn's DCEU. Ginger's voice actress and David Bradley as Fowler and Nick and Fletcher. Yeah, they sound too different from the original voice actors. It's distracting. Fowler was one of the heroes of the original. He was the one that, provided them with the answer to build the plane to escape the farm. Fowler doesn't do jack shit in Dawn of the Nugget. And the climax of Dawn of the Nugget is so tensionless and underwhelming. Like, you recall how epic and grandiose the finale of the original was with the plane escape. Well, the chickens just drive away from the factory in one of the trucks, and with Mrs. Tweedy just holding on her for a little while, but they easily shake her off, and yeah, that's it. Uh, no danger, no threats. Such a shame that Aardman are making their movies more childish and are not giving them darker, more adult elements anymore. Because adults are going to be pretty bored by Dawn of Nugget, I think. Whereas the original Chicken Run is a perfect family movie where the parents and the kids can get something out of it. Oh, and to add to that, the none of the jokes in this movie are like tickling your laugh box as much as the first movie. There's no joke that tops his Babs. Oh, me life flashed before me eyes. It was really boring. So yeah, overall, Dawn of the Nugget is uh, probably the most disappointing animated flick of 2023. I give Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget 3 stars out of 5. good movie. So yeah, Arsman still needed to uh, raise their game if they wanted to return to their good old glory days. And uh, yeah, let's uh, just uh, hold out hope they get the message that so they needed to return to the days when their movies weren't afraid to be dark. Well, I love you guys. Thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. And what are your thoughts on Chicken Run Dawn of the Nuggets? Are you with me and agree that it is underwhelming in comparison to its predecessor? Please comment and let me know. Please like this video and subscribe. Please follow on Twitter and on Instagram. And I'll see you all next time when I review the Polar Express, as I am seeing that in cinemas tomorrow with my good pal Ollie, as that was re-released for Christmas, as and I will also be reviewing Last Christmas 2019 as requested by Jake. And remember, movies are us. Bye guys.